What if it's because we didn't know?
That's another thing, because people don't know.
Because somebody like me, I won't lie. I'm not coming to
Yes.
kind of form Porsche or anything. If I was building my house before I met this guy, I wouldn't be calling any like lighting engineer to kind of check.
Running a business could be difficult. On this channel, we share the journey through the good days and the bad days. How to grow your business, how to manage your clients, and how to give the best customer experience are some of the topics that we talk about. If you like this type of content, hit the subscribe button and let's jump right into this video.
Today we have a client of mine, a very good client of mine, and he's not into the interior design space. But trust me, if he decides to help you out with your interior design space, your world will be brought to light. I mean, like, his name is Prosper. I know him by Prosper. You might know him by other names, but this is Prosper from Lighting Hub Architectural Lighting. So, Prosper, over to you.
Hello. Yes. Basically, we are Lighting Hub Engineering Limited. What we do is we focus more on architectural lighting design. So we do more of architectural lighting design. We do lighting consultancy, and we also look at the engineering aspect of lighting. So basically, that is what we do.
Yeah. So you bring lights to their world.
Yes, we bring light to the world.
Okay. So now for this conversation, I really wanted to expose things that are not taught in school. Some of my subscribers are like students that are freshly graduating. Some of you may also be like professionals out there who are like, you've been doing your thing for over years and maybe you just wanted to explore more or discover some place new. Now, I'm going to ask him a few questions that, of course, would snowball into other questions as it may come. But then everything is going to be involved with design, lighting design, and business. So business administration, how he has had to build his business from scratch, like from the scratch, the times you did not know about him. I'm sure some of you might not know about him, but don't worry, I'll do a B-roll of some of the projects that he does, and you'll be like, hey, and these people are in Ghana. Yes, please, they are in Ghana. It's not outside the country, it's here now. So, Mr. Prosper,
Yeah.
what has it been like after school? What did you study in school? And is what you studied in school directly related with what you are doing, or you've taken it an extra mile to push things in a different way?
Okay, so I studied lighting design with specialty in architectural lighting. So we have the theatrical and then we have the architectural. I decided to focus on the architectural lighting design. And then coming from this side of the world, where we need more of educational, like educating the people on the importance of lighting, I feel like that is one aspect that we are not really paying attention to when it comes to the whole construction industry in Ghana and even in general. People don't really pay much attention to lighting. So what I did after school was instead of staying outside the country and working, I decided to rather focus on what we can do to educate the people here and also change the perception about lighting in the country.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's what I decided to do, channel my efforts into changing the perception we have about lighting down here on our side of the world.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that means you saw a gap between what we know as like, we finished the project, we need to light the space, or we are in the process of lighting the space, and now we need to do some interesting lighting fixtures here, or interesting lighting ideas here, or design here. And then before, in the past, like when you talk about lighting, to me, like I felt, oh, the electrician can just come in. How did we bad that? The electrician can just come and we'll just be like, oh, we want this bulb here, and this bulb here, and this bulb here. But so the day I met him, I didn't know that. Yes, of course, I had fair knowledge that there had to be some calculation to it, but I had never met anybody who was going to do the whole calculation, describe the type of lights with the whole wattage and everything, with the specs, It was amazing the first time I met him. The second time I met him, there's even a short video I have of the second time I met him. He was teaching me about spotlights. Now, it's been interesting knowing him all through this point because, yes, it's what he studied in school that he's mastering in now. But I can bet that even with what he studied in school, he has had to take it an extra mile. So, what is that extra mile that you've gone through? Because honestly, for me, if you ask me, I'll say school is all about theory. Now, when you get out of school, then you face the reality. The main things, the actions that you have to take after school is more like 80%. So school is just like 20%. What have you had to do to push yourself?
I think on my side of the profession, I always bring it back to our side of the world. Changing people's perception is one difficult thing. You know, when people are used to one particular way of doing things, changing it becomes very, very difficult because at the end of the day, they have a certain mindset in their heads, and you have to find ways and means to talk them out of it and plant this new
seeds.
You know, yeah, that's one difficult thing. Like, it's been one difficult thing, and I know it's a gradual process. You know, you start from somewhere and keep hammering on what's supposed to be done. Like, you know, gradual process, talk to the people about it. Look, there's supposed to be even a campaign which we are currently working on.
Okay.
On like educating people more on the whole lighting aspect. Because so I feel like it's been one of the toughest things, and trust me, changing people's perception is not something I had to learn. I can convince a client to, you know, look, let's do this, let's do that. I can convince the client, but to change the entire perception of, let's say, a whole nation, that's a different ball game.
Yeah, it has to start from somewhere.
Yes, you have to start from somewhere, and I've met some electricians that I talked to. I'm currently training about 16 electricians.
Yeah, so that 16 souls have been saved.
You know, because in Ghana, one thing I realized is most of the electricians are called upon when it comes to lighting.
Yeah.
You know, and I realized that they are a point of contact I can use in, you know,
in changing that perception.
Yeah. You know, so I'm training currently about 16 electricians on the whole lighting thing. So I mean, it's something that you have to be very strategic in putting the ideas out, trying to, you know, convince, and it's difficult dealing with human beings. It's not an easy task. So hopefully, with time, we can change the perception of the entire nation when it comes to lighting. I know there are people out there who have got some sort of ideas and some sort of knowledge when it comes to lighting, but we are just a few, you know, so we have to put in a lot of effort to try and change that whole mindset, and I mean, try and resolve that problem.
So we are hoping to see the campaign soon.
Yeah, hoping to see the campaign soon, because there's a lot we need to pay attention to, which we are not. You know, the side effects of over illumination, like the whole light pollution topic is something a lot of people are not paying attention to in Ghana. You know, when it comes to going according to standard, when it comes to lighting design, a lot of people don't pay attention to that. You know, putting lighting over illumination where people are not even worried about how much power they are consuming.
Yeah, ECG bills be going high.
ECG bills will be going high. You understand? If you go according to the lighting design handbooks, you know that, okay, you are supposed to be restricted. You know, but these are some of the things. People are not paying attention to some of these things, and it will take time to change that sort of perception.
What if it's because we didn't know?
That's another thing, because people don't know.
Because somebody like me, I won't lie. I'm not coming to kind of form Porsche or anything. If I was building my house before I met this guy, I wouldn't be calling any lighting engineer to kind of check. It would just be like, electrical engineer, please do the drawings for me. Just put some. ceiling light over here and here, do some strip lighting.
Exactly,
That would have been it. And from what I learned from him, like even the exterior side that we all, the surrounding lights, you see people flowing in like 10 bulbs just everywhere, like light is everywhere. Is please, even that is wrong. There is a limit. I think is it 200? What did you tell me? It's 200
it
something.
depends on the size of the space we are looking at, and I always say exterior lighting is about creativity. But in as much as you are trying to be creative, you're not supposed to blast lights everywhere.
Okay.
You're not supposed to blast lights everywhere. So you're supposed to play with the darkness and the light.
Okay.
For exterior lighting, that's how it's supposed to be, especially for residential. If it's a place where it's more like an active work zone, that one you have to make sure you light it up per standard.
Okay.
Because it's an active zone, you can't keep the place dark. So depending on the activity happening on the space, then the luminance level that you are working with. You get it. But you don't blast lights everywhere, especially if it's residential. You don't blast lights everywhere. It has to be. You need to be calculated.
Okay.
And probably have. I don't want to go too technical on
Please
this.
Don't go too technical.
Yeah. There's a certain amount of light you need on the perimeter, on the outside. Let's say if it's residential, your car parking area, your walk, your path walks, and all that. You need to factor all those
things.
When you have all those figures in your mind and you are doing your design, at the end of the day, you realize that you don't spend a lot of money
on things,
especially when it comes to consumption. You get it? Yeah.
So, looking at the creative side, how do you get inspiration for some of the things that you do? Guys, I'm serious. I'll share with you like some of their works. Like you see it will be, I'll make it pass once in a while. So when you see it, you'd ask yourself, can't I live in this kind of space? Yes. Ask yourself that question. So how do you get inspiration for some of the things that you do? And how are you able to link that creativity and communicate it with your clients? Because sometimes to go through the process, some people will be like, it's too long. Let's just cut it down. Let's do this one. Meanwhile, there is a picture that you are trying to create according to standards, which will be best for the clients. How are you able to merge creativity and communicating effectively to the clients and doing the thing just the way it's supposed to be done?
Okay, so as we were talking, you made mention of standards. Okay, so there's supposed to be like a guideline for you to follow. In as much as you want to be creative, you still follow the guideline. So you need to be able to draw the distinction between being creative whilst following the guidelines. So let's say if I'm supposed to work on a residential project, and then the architect comes up with the architectural design of the building. Most of the time, an architect would have a certain kind of concept in their heads where they want to work with. So they present it to me, okay, this is what we are trying to look at. And one thing I always say, good lighting doesn't showcase itself with respect to, like, you don't let the light overshadow the architectural structure.
Design.
No, lighting is supposed to complement the architectural structure. That's the first rule. Like, you need to accept that. So whatever you are doing is supposed to complement the architectural structure. So if the architect says, oh, this is the kind of idea or the kind of concept I want to play around, it's now left to you, the designer, to look at it. Okay, this is what we are trying to do. At the end of the day, what the architect is proposing, is this something that is doable? And if it's doable per guideline or per standard, how are you supposed to go about it? That's the tricky part.
Oh, so you don't have to be too rigid, and you also don't have to like go crazy like I'm doing.
Yeah, because you may go crazy and it may be outside
the guideline.
Because imagine you want to do something like really wild. At the end of the day, you do it, but at the end of the day, it's going to cause a lot of light pollution. You get it? In as much as you want to get creative, you look at the guidelines, because uplighters, for instance, there are some countries in the world that are actually per their standards, they're actually cutting it out.
Why?
Because the moment you do more of uplighters and you don't have something that is preventing the light from going into the atmosphere, you are causing light pollution. Do you get it? So if you want to do an uplighter, you make sure as the light is going up, there's something at the top that's supposed to prevent it from going
all the way.
Exactly. So you have to be very strategic. You can be creative, get all the designs, get all the inspirations. And I always say getting inspirations, with time, when you do the work for a very long time, it comes naturally. As soon as you see the structure, the idea starts flowing. And when the idea starts flowing, then the guidelines also come in. Because there's something that's supposed to check you that, look, this thing you're trying to do, how best is it going to help the client? How best is it going to help the environment? Yes. And I mean, we live in a dynamic world, and I believe in evolution. Day in, day out, new ways of doing things are coming up. You need to keep upgrading yourself. And one thing I do is I try to attend international conferences as much as I can.
To get the exposure.
That you need. You meet other designers, you share ideas. You get to, and I'm a research-based person, so I try to make sure that everything you've researched on, like the new trends that are coming out, meet other colleagues, discuss, come up with technologies, like ways to go about stuff. So being creative, I always say it goes a long way. You just have to do more of a research. You have to be a research person, because you can't stay creative and you can't tell me you are creative and you don't research. You need to research. You need to research. You need to read. You need to get in touch with people.
You need to expose yourself.
Explore
constantly, and try it and see.
You understand? So being creative, you need to always be up and about. You don't just stay at one place and be used to one way of doing things and expect to be creative. It doesn't work that way. Okay. New ways of doing things are out there. Read about them, get to know them. Okay. And know the technique behind whatever you are saying. There's this thing that people usually do. They go on social media, they go on Pinterest for inspirations. It's good. But at the end of the day, know the technique behind whatever you are seeing. Because if you go pick a landscape, or let's say, in Ghana, a lot of people do more residential. So let's take a residential. You want to do your landscape lighting design. You go on Pinterest, you see all these things there. They are nice. You can pick inspirations from there. But then they know the technique behind whatever you are seeing. Why did they put this particular lighting fixture here? Which technique are they using? And why are they using it? Do you get it? And then if you are not able to establish that, the output may even be wrong. Because you see somebody has used a wall washer to wash a wall. Probably a linear wall washer to wash a wall. You don't know the specifications of that particular wall washer used. You want to
use the same wall washer.
You want to create the same, let me say, lighting design concept or effect. But you don't know which particular washer they used. What are the specifications? You understand? Yeah, I'm getting a bit technical. Let's say the wall washer, for instance. The LED chips that are in it, do they have PC lenses? Do you get it? Whether it has a lens or not, they are going to give you different outputs. So the effect will be different. So at the end of the day, if you don't know all these things, you think you've seen it, you want to
You are going to replace it and
like
just
do a replica
replicate.
of it. At the end of the day, it won't work. You see, so you can have the inspirations from somewhere else, but get to know the technique behind it.
So as much as everybody is trying to be creative, be guided by the guidelines.
Yes.
And then within those guidelines, you create something that would work and that will stand out.
Exactly.
Always be based on research. Always try and Google or check, explore, reach out to other people in the same field that you're, maybe not even in the same. Sometimes you can even get inspiration from other places.
Yeah.
And then try and relate it to yours and see how the connection is there. Now, business-wise, how has it been? How do you communicate with your clients that you need this kind of thing? This is the best for you. How do you talk to them for them to understand? Because honestly, if you don't show me how important it is to me, I'll probably not want to do it. So how are you able to navigate that aspect of their minds? Because everybody's mind is made up once they are coming to you. Some people, it's once in a while that you get a client's mind that is open to ideas, like truly open. It's not the type that will tell you, oh, I'm open to ideas. Then when you start giving him the ideas, then it's like, no, I don't. Then they start blocking all the ideas. So how are you able to navigate around that and recommend to them the best things for them?
Okay, so number one, I'll still mention education. You need to educate your client.
Are you saying we need to constantly give them information?
Yes.
About what we do that should help them?
Exactly. Because a client may sometimes tell you, oh, I want this. But you as the professional will know that, look, this is not going to help.
Work.
You know, you need to educate them on that. That's the first thing. And secondly, I believe in value for money. You know, and that's something you need to establish, because I always say sometimes people perceive architectural lighting to be expensive. No, but when, let's say, with proper planning, you cut out a lot of unnecessary costs. You get it. How you kind of, so when you educate your client that, look, let's get this thing done the right way, and then you propose something which is supposed to help the person and be effective. Now, the value for money aspect also comes in. Because at the end of the day, if the client knows that, okay, I'm buying a product that is going to have like a 5-year warranty on the product, they are sorted out. Because I don't think anybody will want to buy a product and after 6 months it goes off. There are so many products on the Ghanaian market that don't have like
warranties on them. You can't even go back and be like, I bought this here, and it's
like warranties are not a thing when it comes to most of these Ghanaian markets, like when it comes to lights and fixtures. You know, so the moment the client understands the value for money, sometimes it goes a long way. But you know, I always say working with human beings is not an easy. You know, and it's rather unfortunate on our side of the world. Almost everybody wants to bargain.
Yeah.
You know, like discounts are allowed sometimes, but people want to bargain. But when you let them understand that, look, this is what we are doing for you, like educate them, let them understand what exactly they are paying for.
Yeah.
And then let them understand value for money.
Yeah.
I think if you are able to explain this to a client vividly, they should be able to
understand and have to come and start doing some things.
Because if not, if you want to do things anyhow, you do things anyhow. At the end of the day, you don't get the best outcome, and you may end up spending more to get it done right.
So you end up spending way more now trying to correct the things that were wrong, and we have a lot of those in town.
Exactly. You know.
I see. So everybody should learn to communicate the value for money. It's a bit tricky when you are trying to communicate value for. Maybe I'll do a video on that some other time. But in communicating the value for money, you don't. I'll say something short on that. you don't push it too much. You give them free information. That's what I do. I'll give you free information. I don't mind. Until the person perceives the value, you cannot put that value in the person's head.
Not at all.
It will not work. So if I come to you and I tell you, you know what, let's do this thing this way, let's do this thing this way, and these fixtures that you are buying would come with a warranty of 5 years. Now, maybe on the first try, you will not understand. But when I show to you several case studies of people that have gone through that process and explored or like tried it and have done it and have had issues with the lights, and they've had to change it instantly without any problems, you will see that you will go and buy from there. you will go and buy from there instantly. But of course, so everybody should learn how to, even the small projects that you do, package it, show the case studies, show the relevance for the people. You are not selling yourself, but you are showing the relevance for other people. When people are able to see that relevance, nobody is going to come to you and start arguing about why is this thing like this, why is this one like this, you know. Okay, so what are the best practices you've learned over your years of doing this work? How many years have you been working, though?
About 6 years.
6 years. So throughout your first half decade plus 1 year, what has it been like? What have you had to learn? And what would you tell yourself if you were to go back in time, or if you saw your past and you were like, hey, younger me, please don't do this?
Okay, so for the best practice, I would talk about the whole, as I said, I'm a research-based person. Yeah. You research more.
On things.
Like, on things. Like, do a lot of research on things. Read wide. Take advantage of, like, anything that's supposed to give you the exposure. Take advantage of it. You know, go for seminars, go for trainings, research more, read more, get into contact with people, like, learn a lot. You know, that's like the best practice. And communication. Other designers, so when you're on a project, architects, interior designers, contractors, like electricians, everybody, learn to communicate with them. Because at the end of the day, even though your work is some way, somehow dependent on some of these people, you know, so learn to communicate with them, like learn to communicate with people. And then what I would say, I'll tell my younger self, if I'm supposed to go back in time, is don't rely too much on your strength.
So don't do it all by yourself.
Don't rely too much on your strength. Look at the God factor. Okay. I always look at the God factor. Look at allowing God to sometimes take the wheel. Don't try to do things like, I want to do this, I want to do this. Let God order your steps. He is like, let me say, the one driving the bus. You are just a passenger.
Yeah.
You know, let him order your stuff. Let his will be done. You understand? So sometimes when you are young, I want to do this, I want to get this thing, I want to do this. It's good to be ambitious and all that, but sometimes it may not be in accordance with the will of God. So the God factor, let the will of God be done. You know, don't try to do everything you think you no. Let the will of God be done. Relax. And let God, because in trying to do so much, we end up doing certain things that are not necessary.
Yeah.
That are not even helpful to us in one way or the other. You know, so take your time, let the will of God be done. Do what you can do, and everything you do, let it be in accordance to the will of God.
Are you saying let his will be done? You know, some people can take it for this thing and be like, let the will be done. I'm not going to do anything.
No. What I'm saying is, put in the hard work.
Aha.
Put in the hard work hard, but everything you do, let it be in accordance to the will of God.
Okay.
That is all.
That's true, actually.
Everything you do, in as much as you're trying to work hard, let it be in accordance to the will of God. You get it? Because sometimes we try to do so much and we end up putting ourselves in certain situations that are not helpful.
Yeah. There's so many situations that are not helpful.
You know, you try to do so much, you put yourself in a situation that is not helpful.
You see that look on my face right now. There are so many situations that are not helpful.
So, I mean, let's. That's what I would tell my younger self if
you were to go back.
If I was supposed to go back in time, and,
So, where do you want to take the entire Lighten Hub architectural lighting to in the next 5, 10, next years to come or decades to come?
Okay, so we want to, as in terms of Lighten Hub, we want to be like the face of architectural lighting in Africa, because Western world, when you go to Europe, Asia, they have a thing going on. Very few countries in Africa here are actually like taking lighting like very serious. South Africa is doing a good job. Some part of Nigeria are also
doing a good job.
Yeah. So Ghana, I mean, most of the time we have to bring in foreigners to come
and do the thing for us.
And even that, just very few projects.
So now we don't have to bring foreigners to come and do the things for us.
Yeah, because we are here, but sometimes you'll be called outside. Charlie, there's this work going on here. We need you to step up. You know, so it's our prayer and our dream that we'll be able to change the perception. I mean, I believe in education. I'm looking at we being able to change the perception of the whole lighting situation in Ghana and Africa as a whole with time, with a lot of education and engagement with other professionals, and find ways and means to get this thing done, because we have a long way to go. We have a long way to go.
We have a very long way to go. Like a very long way.
There are some of the lighting retail stores that I have that relationship with some of their managers, and I try to talk to some of them to find ways and means to educate their showroom attendants, find ways and means to educate their clients who come in. So I mean, we have a long way to go, and it's not something we can do on our own. We need all the other professionals to come together, find ways and means to get these things all sorted out. Because at the end of the day, the architects, interior designers, everybody in the design industry, the whole design and build industry, we have a long way to go.
Yeah, we have a very long way to go.
It's our dream to help change that perception about lighting, the awareness of how lighting affects the environment, how it affects the human beings, both physically, emotionally, psychologically. There's a lot to it. We have a lot of educational series we are working on to address some of these issues. So I'm sure with time we can get some of them out there. And anybody who wants to, learn more about lighting can reach out to us. And I mean, our doors are opened, and we are always available to
at whatever time. There's
working hours.
So there's working hours, please.
Working hours, please. So yeah, you can reach out to us. Our social media handles, our contact details, everything is available.
Everything will be there in the description, and I'll also
reach out to us. If you have further questions about lighting, reach out to us. If you want to discuss your project, reach out to us. Anything you want with regards to lighting fixtures, everything, just reach out to us, and we'll sort you out.
All right, that's great. That's great. So it's been an honor to have you here.
Thank you.
We'll have him some other time.
Yes.
And maybe we'll discuss something else. But thank you so much.
Thank you too
for spending like 30 minutes of your time.
Thank you.